Hello, grade 1 students, and a very, very good morning to you all. How are you all doing today? I hope you all are good and fine, healthy. Your tummies are full, your health is good, you're feeling fresh, not sleepy, right? Yes? Yes or no? I am also fine, Alhamdulillah. That's great. Now tell me, class, that what was the topic, actually, what was the unit that we have started? Can you recall and name the unit that we started? Yes, correct. It was all about foxes. We are learning about foxes, right? So, what we did actually, what you already know, what we have already learned in the class, what was that about foxes? Correct. First, we did about the foxes that where do they live? Okay, then we have done how do they look like, right? So, where do they live? How do they look like? And today, okay, we will learn about what do they like to eat, correct? Now, when we were discussing foxes, I have already explained you that there are three types of foxes, as you have seen in the book also, right? Which are they? The Bengal fox that lives in Bengal, right? The red fox. Where does the red fox lives? It lives in forest, correct? Then the Arctic fox, right? And where does the Arctic fox lives? It lives in colder climate, colder regions, like it lives in Canada, Alaska. It lives in Europe, Asia, right? So that means that these are the places where we can find foxes. But now you can see foxes all around the world. You can see previously it was only the rural area, the villages where we can find foxes. But nowadays it is also we can also find foxes in urban areas, the areas like cities, like towns, right? We can find them over there, right? Okay. So they live all around the world. Basically, they live in these places which I have told you. Then what we discussed? Then we discussed how does a fox looks like, right? Like you can see in my picture also how it looks like. In the looks of foxes, what we discussed, it looks like how are the ears of foxes? The ears, they are like triangle shape. They are the shape of a triangle. And what about a nose? It has a pointy nose. Very good. And it has a, what is this? A tail. So what do you call it? A bushy tail. It has a bushy tail because it has lots of fur all around the body, right? And it has neck also, ears also, and eyes are very sharp. Correct. Eyes of a fox are very sharp, right? So this was all that we discussed during this whole week, right? So today I'm going to tell you about what the fox likes to eat, right? Now, if I ask you, what do you think fox likes to eat? Can you guess anything that you think is the food of fox? Animals, correct. You see, foxes are hunters. They hunt for food. Okay? They hunt for food. They hunt for rabbits. They hunt for birds. They hunt for rats. But they are not carnivores. The animals who eat only meat. They are not that. They are omnivore animals. They eat animals as well as they like to eat berries and fruits also. Yes, because you see when nowadays when the foxes are in rural areas, they can easily find animals. Whereas in urban areas where they cannot find these type of hawk or the other birds and rabbits around, so what do over there? They eat berries, they eat fruits, or they dig in the dustbin. In the rural area, they dig in the dustbin, they find food for themselves. And they also eat pigeons or rats, right? But they eat berries as well as fruits. So they are omnivore. Do you understand? Okay. So now I'm going to show you the presentation which I have already shown you, but we have not seen the whole presentation. I have only shown you the half of it because we were discussing half part of that presentation. Okay. Now let's see what do I have for you. Okay. Now see, I've shown you about the foxes, right? Information. Uh, Here we have seen about the habitat of foxes. Yes, just a minute. And the habitat of foxes we have seen. Then we have seen the red fox, right? It lives in the desert, in forest. We have seen the Arctic fox. It lives in the colder climate. Now, here comes what does foxes likes to eat. Now you can see it's a chain. Now you can see a hawk over here. It's a bird. It is eaten by a fox. Now rabbits are eaten by a fox, right? It's actually a food chain. Now again in this picture you can see this is a hawk. It's eaten by fox, right? And these are tiny scorpions and lizards and insects. These are eaten by hawk. Hawk eats them. The bird eats them. And this bird later on is eaten by a fox. Do you understand? Yes. In the same way, lizards and other small insects are eaten by a snake. And later on, a snake is eaten by a fox. This is a food chain of animals, right? First, the insects are eaten, insects and other small animals are eaten by a bigger animal, like a lizard eats all the insects, right? But later on, lizard is eaten by a hawk, okay? In the same way, a lizard is eaten, lizard eats snake, small insects, as I've told you. Later on, lizard is also eaten by a snake, but a snake can be eaten by a fox, right? A fox can eat a snake. So it's a kind of a food chain of a fox, right? So it means, class, that what we discuss is what do fox likes to eat? It likes to eat, it likes to eat animals and it likes to eat birds. Then it likes to eat fruits. And what else it likes to eat? Berries. Now, it likes to eat birds like hawk, pigeons, and it likes to eat animals like rats, like rabbits, like snake, okay? And all kind of fruits it can eat because as I told you, because the fox which lives in, which are there in the urban areas where they cannot find these animals, where they cannot find a hawk roaming around, they cannot find a rat or a rabbit all around itself. So for that, they have to hunt for food. So what do? They dig in the dustbin, they find out some leftovers over there, they find out some dead animals, and they find some pigeons and rats, and then they eat that, and fruits also. Right? Do you understand? Hmm? Okay. So now comes the time for the task. Now what you have to do is on page number 50, there is the fifth question, and that says name two things that foxes eat. Now, you can see the picture here. Now, this is the question. Name two things that foxes eat. You have to name any two. Now, see, the foxes are eating here berries. See, they are eating fruits. So it means they are not carnivore animals, they are omnivore because they eat animals as well as they eat fruits, vegetables. Okay? Do you understand? It eats plants and animals both. So that's why it's a omnivore animal. Okay? So what you are going to do, you have to write down two names of things that foxes eat. It could be a name of an animal, it could be a name of a bird, it could be a name of a fruit. Okay, so your task is not that big. So I'm just going to give you 5 minutes and your time starts now. Time is up. Time is up. Come on. You think, Alia, what you have written? You have written rabbits. Okay. And what else? Hawk. Very good. Okay. Yes, Neha, what you have written? You have written pigeons, okay, and berries. Very good. Okay. Yes, Amir, what you have written? Rats, and you have written snake. Very good. Very good. Good job. I'm very, very glad and happy for you that now you know about foxes. If anybody comes and asks you, what are foxes? Where do they live? How do they look like? And what do they eat? Are you going to will you be able to answer? Yes, for sure you'll be able to answer the question because now it's very, very clear to you all that how do they look like, what do they eat, where do they live, what type of foxes are there, are the foxes only in rural area? They are now present in urban areas also. They are there in cities and towns as well. So, but we should be careful about them because it's a dangerous animal, right? It's a dangerous animal. We should take care of ourselves, right? Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. So do the homework. I'm going to post on your portal and it is going to be related to your workbook page related to the same topic that is all about foxes. Okay? Alright. See you in your science lesson. Bye bye.